Welcome back to the Wizards Central here on 106.7 Fan. I'm your host, Connor Schreck, here with Sam Dine and Noah Hamilton, here to talk all your things off-season Wizards. First, we'll start with our projections for the upcoming season. What do you think Johnny Davis is going to do in year two?
Well, I don't think we'll see a full breakout from Davis yet, but I do expect him to be a kind of 10-3, 9-4 guy, a seventh or eighth man in the rotation. But I'm looking forward to seeing him in year two with the Wizards. We saw him step up big towards the end of the year when he finally was kind of that number one, number two option when guys were sitting out at that point in the year when we were playing meaningless basketball. But I do think that we'll see a slight improvement from Davis, not kind of the improvement that we're looking for, or we had his projections at going into year two after we drafted him, but I do think we'll see slight improvement, and I'm looking forward to a fun year of basketball from Johnny Davis.
Certainly true. He did perform well down the stretch when Beal, Kuzma, and Porzingis were sitting out. Now over to Noah. What do you think about Denny Advia's season? Obviously entering the point, where he's in his athletic prime and he really should be breaking out.
I think Denny Avdia is going to have a great season. Well, he's obviously going to break out because we have no players left. We're into the full rebuilding phase. Kuzma opted out of his option and he's going to be a free agent. Porzingis was traded. Beal was traded. So Denny Avdia has much more time to put in to being a better player, putting up more points. I think he's going to have a really great year this year.
I agree with you. Quite literally, he's going to get a ton more minutes. Now to the big blockbuster trades of the offseason. We'll start with you, Noah. What do you think of the Bradley Beal to Phoenix trade?
Obviously, Bradley Beal to Phoenix. We got Chris Paul back. We got a bunch of second-round picks. I don't know if we got anything else back, but if we did, that'd be nice. So, obviously, we got Chris Paul, and we traded away Chris Paul after for another player. So, I think we obviously lost the Beal trade because Bradley Beal was a great asset for us. He was our legit best player, and trading him away for just second-round picks, not getting in a single first-round pick, is not the best ideal situation. And only getting Chris Paul back, a 38-year-old guard, is not ideal either. So I think we made a really good trade getting Chris Paul out for another younger player. I think Sam has some stuff to say about that trade too.
Yeah, I agree with you, though. You do forget the pick swaps. There were definitely added assets to that trade. And honestly, they got $200 million off the cap, which is honestly all you can ask for a rebuilding team. Now over to Sam. What do you think of the corresponding move, Chris Paul to the Warriors for Jordan Poole?
Now, I will tell you, I love Jordan Poole. The Wizards finally get themselves a player to build around, a true number one option. The best player we got in the Bradley Beal deal was Landry Shamet. The best player we got in the Kristaps Porzingis deal was Tyus Jones. And now we get Jordan Poole for a 38-year-old point guard. And on top of that, a first and second round pick, the first being in 2030 and the second being in 2027. But I truly would give the trade a grade of an A. Jordan Poole, a guy who averaged 20 in one of the most loaded offenses last year, is going to be the kind of main guy in this Wizards offense, and he's going to have so many shots to take, so many opportunities. I mean, I think he can be an all-star this next year, and I am really excited to see Jordan Poole because we finally got that guy to start a rebuild around and with.
I agree with you on that. If you want to call in to voice your opinion, the number is 240-596-4204. We have a call, John from Baltimore. John, you're on the Wizards Central radio show.
Hey guys, happy to be on the show. Thank you for taking my call. And I don't know if I'm liking what I'm hearing, to be quite honest with you guys. I think both of you are a bit on the extreme on this trade. I think it's a good trade. It's good to start the rebuild because we weren't going to win anything with Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis. I think that's pretty clear. The core we had built around was not going to, do any damage in the playoffs or even in the regular season. So it was time to rebuild. But we're not going to start a rebuild around Jordan Poole. We're going to start a rebuild around guys we take in the draft, like a Bilal Coulibaly. Sure, he may not be your perfect guy, but we're going to be bad for a long time. So we're going to just have to hit on one or two of the high draft picks that we're going to have. Look at the way the Sixers did their process. They didn't hit on every single one of the guys that they drafted really high. Look at Markelle Fultz, Jahlil Okafor, Nerlens Noel, but they did hit on Joel Embiid, and it's carried them pretty far into their postseason run. So I don't think that Jordan Poole is going to be the cornerstone of this rebuild, but I think it is good that they are rebuilding.
All right, we'll go to Sam first. What do you think about Jordan Poole? Obviously, you said you can rebuild around him. Do you think Bilal will be more of a second guy, or do you think they will rebuild around him in the end?
Well, the reason why I disagree with that take is because Bilal Coulibaly can't really be a second scoring option. He can be the second best player or second guy that you want to rebuild around, but he's not much of a scorer. I mean, he can space the floor fairly efficiently, but he's a guy who averaged 10 points per game over in France. Whereas for Poole, he averaged 20 again in one of the best offenses in basketball, and his projections are towards just north of 25 this next year. I think that he's a guy to build around. I strongly disagree with that take solely because he's under contract for the next 4 years. The Wizards are going to be paying him north of $30 million, and he's clearly their number one scoring option in the future and a guy that they really like.
All right, do you have any thoughts, Noah?
I do think Jordan Poole is the guy to rebuild around. While, yes, draft assets are great, getting good players in the draft is one of the main things you can do as a rebuilding team, but I still think this rebuild should be focused around Jordan Poole, as we traded away Bradley Beal for Chris Paul. Chris Paul was a good player, but we traded him away for Jordan Poole. We got a first round and a second round in that deal. While, yes, those are in later years, I still think Jordan Poole is going to be the main guy for the next 4 or 5 years.
All right, thank you for those opinions. We'll be back after this. It's a Wizard Central on 106.7 The Fan.